You're listening to Copy Chief Radio. Get all the episodes and join the community at copychief.com.
What's up, friends? It's Kev here. Appreciate you tuning in. It's Copy Chief Radio. I'm excited to be with Bob Phibbs. Bob is known as the retail doctor. I'm envious of the amazing career he's built for himself because he basically gets to go identify what's wrong with businesses when you walk into them and why aren't they doing a better job of serving you, of selling you, and all those things. You have an illustrious career, Bob. If you want to give some highlights, feel free. Otherwise, I'm sure they'll see through your intelligence of this conversation.
I am amazing. I am amazing. So, but enough about you. Let's talk about me some more. I'm a speaker and a motivational speaker. I started off my career working retail. I put myself through college selling shoes. Ultimately ended up selling, went into Western wear. I graduated, I was going to be a conductor. We'll talk about that later. And my part-time job became my full-time job. And a little Western store opened up in the mall in Glendale Galleria. And I applied and I said, well, I'll sell your stuff, but I'm not going to dress this way. And they're like, oh, you'll dress this way. Expanded that to 55 stores across the nation before I had another conversation we could have about why you leave a business. I went to a Tony Robbins seminar and he said, you better come up with a brand nobody else can do better than you. And I said, I'm going to be a big fish in a tiny little spot, which is in-person brick and mortar retail. And I got the highest increased South Coast Plaza, the #1 mall in the world at the time. And that gave me the creed to go out to the world and say, hey, I'm the guy that can help you fix it. If you're trying to convert more lookers to buyers, I'm your guy. And more importantly, I believe it is all about being more human in an increasingly dehumanizing world. And if you ascribe to that, you'll buy my online training, salesrx.com. You'll buy my books. You'll hire me to speak. And that you get it. If you don't get it, and people are disposable, and all anybody wants is a discount, I'm not your guy. And I think that's important for your audience as well, right? You just like, it's like, this is who I am. This is who I want. This is who I'm not. But I'm always shocked when I talk to businesses and they're like, oh no, everyone's our customers. Like, no, they're not. Don't try to be. So there you go.
Yeah. I want to isolate a couple things real quick. One, I think it's so important, and a lot of businesses are very resistant to this, to declare who you're not for. And you don't have to have bullet lists if you're a big company or whatever. But how do I know I belong if I don't know your principles? Right. And the other thing I can't help but latch on to is your musicality. I mean, to be a conductor, man, I have a friend who sings in a chorus with the orchestra, and she raves about not only her conductor, of course, but the orchestral conductor, and the level of knowledge. I have the utmost respect for that. But I see such a line, a parallel between musicality, people who play or even just really love music in this world of branding and retail and sales. What do you see as a correlation between those two desires?
I have frequently been quoted as saying, all I do is go around the world giving people voice lessons. That's really what it is. In a world of, I'd rather text than talk to you, we have to find the ability to put yourself out there. And we're recording this on October 22nd, and I just did a post on LinkedIn, the phenomenon of trunk or treat. And I must have seen 3 or 4 flyers today about that. And, signed up for all this. And I thought, you have taken all the risk, all the chance of what could happen if someone knocks on a door and says trick or treat, and you've removed all of that. So you're going from, 2 feet from one trunk to another. There's no mystery. There's no having to get out of yourself. And I encourage people on LinkedIn and some other platforms, take your kids trick-or-treating. That is not trick-or-treating. That's just go to the grocery store. And that's the problem. If you didn't get that, in case you can't tell, I'm a salesperson, but, I sold Christmas cards during the summer in Toledo, Ohio, and then you delivered them in November. I went door to door asking if I could mow your lawn. I had a paper route. I had a lot of things that pushed me out there, even though I probably said, I don't know if I'm going to like to do this. But once you are not afraid of it, it opened doors for you. And that's what scares me so much about so many young people these days is they didn't have that. They never practiced it. And they
Right.
were taught the world comes to you. And
Yeah.
you and I both know the world doesn't come to you, pal.
Yeah. No one's going to care as much as you. You better go speak about it. Yeah. That's interesting. And, I'm a father of a 19 and a 22-year-old. That's a very small case study. But seeing my daughter, particularly, who's very social, and her friends, a lot of the things we fear, I don't see in them. And I just say that as a line of encouragement. Undoubtedly, the overall experience of them being able to hide behind their screens, and you made a great point, the world comes to them. Good luck turning it off. So why do I need to go create experience? That's huge. But my daughter's just the kind of person who loves to engage. Grown people are always amazed at her level of her presence. It comes down to presence. As you said, another thing in one of your videos too comes down to intent as well. I think those are the seeds. Like, you can learn how to have a better presence, and part of it is overcoming those fears you talked about. Of it's going to be scary to talk to somebody. It gets easier. And then you learn to like own your space in an environment, and those things are big. They say I heard the first time I heard this was about Bill Clinton. He has an amazing presence because he's amazingly present. And that whole thing of, boy, when they look at you, you feel like you're the only person in the world, even though there's 10 people waiting behind you to talk to them. That's a learned skill. But intent, that has to be pure.
Well, I think it comes from confidence. That's what we're not building. It's the confidence to say, what's the worst that could happen? They say no. What's the worst? The great lie that I think we learn in high school is, if you'd gone up to them, they might have said yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The lie would be, yeah, well, you know where I'm going. The lie is no, you can't talk to her. You can't talk to him. But the reality is, it was always 50-50. And most of us didn't learn that until we get much older. And that's the concern also, is that as you get older, I don't care if you want to, I do an exercise in my motivational speeches about, I go into how many would want your kids to grow up to be a salesperson. No hands go up while I'm speaking to business people. And I'm like, isn't that funny? In a room of people that have to sell things for a living, well, it's too hard. And I say, I don't care if you want to put fresh water into a third world country. They're going to have to sell someone on the ability to be part of a team. I don't care if they're going to be a musician. They're going to have to be able to get people to join that band. I mean, that's part of the other thing, that being conductor, I had my own chorus. We were at the Carpenter Performing Arts Center in Long Beach, California, 3 concerts a year, 1,000-seat hall. The California Arts Grant, when they came to check up on us, they said, we really appreciate the fact that you have full audiences. Like, yeah, I'm never going to have more people on the stage than in the audience. And when people join me, I teach them how to sell to their friends. And like, this is what it's about. If you want to do this, you need to do that. And the same thing in an orchestra. You have to get them to want to be able to do that with you, or the music sucks. So if we learn that it's about us together, then you can't afford to be down below them. If someone's got this much interest and integrity and confidence, and you're like, well, I'm just going to be over here, you'll lose it. And that's what I'm seeing more and more, and particularly in retail, that we just don't seem to understand that you can fix people feeling disengaged. And I get it. You're a bitter Betty, you're a bitter Bill. You don't like someone to help you. Well, good for you. You'll probably be online. But 80% of the world doesn't want that. That's why they walk into a store.
Right. Okay, let's walk into a store together. I'll choose the place. Just otherwise, I'll feel like and I want you to give the your bits that, I'm not against that. But I love a mind like.
Means, but okay.
Well, you know what I mean? We speakers and presenters, we have our stuff packaged up that.
No, I'm not going to, that's not me. Go ahead.
I'm fine with that, is what I'm saying, because I know it'll be valuable. But I love to be in the moment here. Let's walk into, I live in St. Petersburg, Florida, a very up and coming city, lots of new retail. I'm out shopping on Central Avenue, and I walk into a men's clothing retail store. What's the first thing I should experience when I walk in?
First thing is, the front of the store doesn't look like a garage sale with everything that was cheap and on sale and like that. It should look like that guy. So in the windows, this looks like me, or I want to be that guy. Either one works. But if you can't get that in that much time, you're probably going to walk by. So you walk in, We could assume either of two things. We could assume it's busy or empty. Let's say it's empty. And there's one guy in there and he's behind the counter. And he should look up, get his butt out from behind the counter and simply walk by you. Doesn't have to walk right up to you and just say good morning and shut the hell up. And you know what? 99% of the time, you know what you're going to say right back to him? Good morning.
Good morning.
And you'll move through the store in a counterclockwise from the right going around the back. That's what we do. The goal of that guy in the apparel store, this may sound a little weird, but is to get you half naked in a fitting room. That's the goal. If you're in a retail store selling apparel, that's the goal. If you're selling shoes, your goal is to see the sock.
Yeah. Yeah.
People don't get it. Like, that's the goal. Forget all the other stuff. If I get you in a fitting room, especially a guy, if I get you in a fitting room, you are mine, dude. I get the pants on you and you say, like, this really fits. And, oh, well, I change. And you say, yeah, these also come with these 3 other colors. Great. I'll take all of them. Like, guys are easy if you would just understand the game. So his goal after the greeting is to find something he has in common with you. There is something that he can find, not going fishing like, hey, did you see the Blue Jays game last night? No, I hate sports. Like, oh, okay. Well, what do you think of the weather today? It's kind of cloudy. I hate clouds, right? I mean, going fishing is just the worst. So just shut the hell up. And you walk in the store and you've got a Western shirt on today, right? With the pearl buttons?
Actually, I've got, you know what? You'll love this. This is
oh, you got the zip one.
Eddie Stratford. It's their unique mechanism.
Oh my God. They follow me on Instagram like day and night. They're
good shirts. You'll like
stop, please. All right. We're the first guy I've seen that's got it. So if he is worth his salt, he should know that brand. He should say something like, I'm sorry, I didn't quite get the brand. Teddy Stafford. Is that a Teddy Stafford shirt? And so you say whatever you want. Say whatever you want.
Yeah, it is. You noticed.
I've got, if it's true, I've got one that I really like. Or if it was in my case, I'd say, that's the guy that followed me around Instagram. I haven't met anyone that's had one. Tell me, is that, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being best, what is it for you? And you could say whatever. I go, great. Well, welcome to the store. This is Bob's Apparel. I'm Bob. Is this the first time you've been in our store? And you're probably going to say yes. And I'm going to offer a brief store tour.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
May I give you a brief store tour? Yeah, sure. And within 2 minutes, I'm going to just say the lay of the land. You're going to get an idea like, oh, so this is what they've got. They've got both men's suits. They got casual. They do footwear. Oh my God. And they got a bar in the back that I wouldn't have seen if he hadn't brought that out. You're like, cool. And then he's going to let us look a little bit more. He might ask, I think, pique your interest. And by then he's been watching what you've touched or held or picked up or considered. He may ask you something specific, because the other thing is you've got to understand that something changed in your life to even walk in that store. People are satisfied with their closet or their life, aren't walking into a new store, but anyone that does, hey, that's on you. So more than likely he would have gotten into a conversation of what you had in common, and then that whole bonding the goal is to build enough trust to earn the right to sell the merch. That's the other part of it. That if I do that, then when I get your sock, when I get your, shoe off and your sock showing, you're going to be laughing, having a good time with it. And again, it's not going to feel like selling. It's just going to see like, oh, I was having fun. A customer should feel that way. They should never know, like I teach the 5 parts to sale, basically. I've been doing since I got the highest increased sales, South Coast Plaza in 1990, goodness sakes, 1994. It's a while ago.
What are the 5 parts? Let's hear them.
We just did it. The greeting, I call it windows of contact, which is what we have in common. The store tour is actually part of discovery. And then you got features and benefits that close and adding on. So maybe it's 6. I started off with 5 when this was a DVD series. But
times have changed. We had to add one.
I know. I had to get that. Well, and the follow-up is probably at least as important these days. But, you could always say, go and read Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you're trying to learn how to sell, that was the first book that I read, the tape series, Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale, still the #1 motivational speech ever. I could tell you that story at some point in the future. But if you're enough to put that together, great. But most people aren't that put together to understand how to win friends and influence people.
Yeah.
And we try to muscle our way into it. And his whole point was just shut up and ask questions. And that's the other thing, that the person asking the questions is the one in charge.
Yep. Always. Another great book that taught me that was You can't learn to ride a bike at a seminar. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a really
I
good
don't
book.
like books like that. So I would never read that book. I would write the opposite. That would be great. How to learn how to ride a bike at a seminar.
Yeah, I always thought the title was a little strange. So I just have to go back to intention, because the intention of the salesperson has to be to make a new friend, to find some way to get along, maybe bond. Like you said, if things go well, I use that because my favorite shopping experience in St. Pete is that the store is owned by a gay couple. And I only mention that because I always tell, and it's rare in Florida, any men who compliments my style and says, how did you develop your style? I say, go to the store and let the gay men tell you what looks good, because
I've never heard that before. Well, I love it.
I mean, I don't know if it's just they focus on fashion. There's a reason they opened this store. They're also very laid back and they're super honest. I don't know. There's something about my favorite line. One of their clerks said to me once, he gave me 5 shirts. So I came out with one, and he looks and he goes, I don't mind it, but I don't love it. So it's a very nice way to say probably not. And that's all I needed to hear, because it is exactly how I felt. It's like, I could get away with it, but it's not lighting me up. And it's just that level of polite honesty where now there's trust. I trust this. I'm going to walk out of here probably actually wearing everything I bought, because we ran it through the filter.
And you want to take that experience home with you. That's why you take the clothes home. That was a great feeling. I feel like I'm sexy, I'm tall, I'm whatever it's going to be. You feel like, oh, that's the best part of me that just came out in that. Oh,
yeah. And when I go out, I get people commenting, and I'm like, okay, fashion is a whole nother thing, because for men especially, I think you have to push a little past your envelope and get, for me, it was colors. I went in there, at the beginning of summer, and I said, look, guys, I'm all blue, gray, and black. I need some colors. And they're like, all right.
I need to look like I live in Florida.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, okay, no orange, no pink, no red. Like, that's not your tone. And we just started from there. But, you were talking about like getting the shoe off, and my mind went to, I remember shopping for shoes a couple times at Nordstrom, and just felt like the salesperson was really just kind of trying to get through it. They're trying to help 2-3 people in a row. There isn't any moment of connection.
There used to be.
And,
yeah. When I first started selling shoes, I thought people look down on me a lot for selling shoes. And I always think of like, if you could see me now. But a lot of famous people started off selling shoes too. There's not, it's serving somebody else doesn't mean you're below them. It's just a different way of doing it. Anyway, if you can like doing that, that's great. But I do think it comes down to that feeling of, how do I enjoy whatever it is that I'm selling, and how do I get them to want to keep talking to me? That's part of it too, right? It's not much different than a podcast. If I was just sitting here, yep. That's kind of the same thing. And a lot of people are waiting for the world to come to them, which brings us back to trunk or treat. But you got to get your butt out there, and it's perfectly okay to walk up to somebody. I mean, we've all had an experience. I'll give you a quick story that's in my book. It's in SalesRx, my online retail sales training program, available at salesrx.com. See, you said that. Now I had to do it. It's the week before Christmas, and at South Coast Plaza had a big roll-up gate in the mall for the store, and there's a guy standing out front. It's 9 a.m. We open at 9, holidays, and I look at him. I was like, oh, goatskin jacket. That's my window of contact. I get this guy. So I'm opening the gate, and it goes up, and I go, good morning. He says, good morning. I go, feel free to look around while I turn the lights on. I'll be right back. So I turn the lights on. I come out. He's looking at a pair of Tony Llamas. It's horrible. I still remember the model number, 5084. Anyway, they're $150 pair of boots. And I say, that's a nice goatskin jacket you got on there. Was that a gift, or did you buy it for yourself? He goes, I bought it for myself. I said, it's always nice to buy something else. I just hit gold 10 years in a row, and I literally just bought this yesterday, and I still had it on, the Scully jacket. And I said, so what are you celebrating? He goes, well, the book that I wrote just got optioned for a movie. Have you ever heard of The Hunt for Red October? My name is Tom Clancy. Now, Tom paid cash. Do you think I ever would have known that was Tom Clancy? Never in a million years. And Tom was a pretty average looking guy. And he came back to my store, even after I moved to another location, he came back to my store to celebrate By the way, he bought a pair of $1,000 ostrich boots for me, not the $150 Tony was. And because I was his store. And I don't care if you're listening to this, I don't care what you sell. You sell printing, everybody sells something. But if you aren't that one person, like go-to for X, then you're one of millions. And to be one out of one, like your guys there in St. Petersburg, that's the key to all of it.
Yeah.
You got to be the one out of one.
Yeah, that's great. You also have to think of it as a long game, it sounds like, in some of the stuff you're describing. Like you became his guy because you gave him a feeling that he wanted to recreate. And it's like, oh, it's something to celebrate. I'm going to go see Bob. He's at that other store now. It was as much about you as what he left with. He trusted you and he wanted that shared experience with you. I think, and that makes me think of car sales, the difference between the new guy whose number was up when you walked on the lot and the old vet who hasn't had to do any lead gen in 10 years because it's all repeat referral business now.
And I think that's the case for all of us, that people say, oh, you do so great. It's like, I'm in my 34th year. It's like, I'm an overnight sensation. Not necessarily. You have 400,000 followers on LinkedIn. It's not your first rodeo. It takes a lot to do that, to have 7 social channels and you're feeding them every day. Well, that's the gig, kids.
Yeah.
It's like at a retail store. Maybe I'm only going to see 10 people a day. Holy crap. I've really got to be on my game. Maybe I'm going to see 100, which to your point of being at Nordstrom, it is hard waiting on 2 or 3 people, but it isn't that hard. I mean, the basics are still true for a guy. And, I think that's the gift that I got with selling to guys, because guys, I think they give you a great reward, but they're a little harder to break through, like you said to begin with. But, if I'm selling you a pair of shoes, he's like, oh, I've got this and I've got this. And you try them on and you go, I've also got this in a brown. And then you have another pair that's just sitting over there. Like, what's in that one? Like, oh, I got a pair of casual shoes for you to take a look. I think you like. Regardless if he bought them, I have 5 pairs of shoes for that guy to try on that say, this is just for you.
Yeah.
And that's where you at least sell 2. And then if you only sell those 2, they're going to come back for a 3rd. But you're the guy that didn't just, here you go, here's 9. Like in most shoe stores now, like they just throw the box at you. Like, now come some high-end stores. I'm just shocked. Like, what the hell am I on the schedule today? Like, did I bring my shoehorn to work day? What the?
Yeah.
Hey.
I'll lace these up, I guess. Thanks. Yeah.
Exactly. You'll be
That's
back
fun.
and take my money. Oh, and you'll get a commission. Great. I love this. I'll be back. Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you about that because you go in and one of the things you do is, I'm sure, help teams improve their sales. If you come across somebody, how often is it the system is broke and the people aren't right or just haven't been trained well?
Great question. More often than not, they don't have a framework to hold the sale together. They don't know where they are in the sale. So they just, either being overly friendly and just asking a bunch of questions. And that's kind of like somebody doing this on your shoulder. You're like, stop it, I'm getting a bruise. Like, I don't want all these questions, right? Or they never were taught. So they are standing in felon pose, hands behind their back, and they're just like that. I hate that crap. But I was working with a toy retailer in Minnesota, and I'd been training their crew for, 3 days. And we were actually in the store the final day. And I had this young woman, and I said, you didn't greet her the right way. You're just supposed to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I can't say that. I said, what can't you say? She goes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I said, well, you just said it, so I know you can say it, but it's not a skill issue we're missing. It's a will issue.
Yeah.
And so I told the owner, I said, and she's got to go. And she goes, yeah, I kind of thought so. I said, yeah, if they're meeting me with that much aggression, they don't want to change and they just want to be whatever. If you want me to be, I don't care what you want when I'm on the sales floor. If you want me to be funny, if you want me to be compliant, but make no mistake, my role is to facilitate you doing what you want. So quick story, South Coast Plaza selling cowboy boots. One of my guys out waiting on this woman, like for 45 minutes. It should not take that long. And she's been walking around under baby blue ostrich and white top. Another Tony Llama, $800. I can't decide. She takes him off, puts him on, takes him off, and he's boxing him back up. And I go, and I walk back over. I go, hey, what's going on over here? She goes, I just don't think I don't know if I'll ever wear them. And I pull them out of the box again. And I said, well, try them on again. And she goes, when am I going to wear these? Probably maybe once or twice. And I said, yeah, and I'm sure you don't have any dresses at home you only wear once or twice. She goes, you're an ass. I'll take them. I was like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
That's what I want. That's all she was looking for. Give me permission to treat myself. It was not money. And she'll remember that story with the laugh, just like I remember her the same way. Life's too short,
Look, I get it. I know there's so many communities, I'm doing air quotes, communities for entrepreneurs out there, all filled with their own version of overnight experts chirping at you from behind the screen. You got your Facebook groups, your clubhouse rooms, just experts galore. How often do you feel like you're being pinballed around from thing to thing and picking up a little bit, a little piece there? How much of that is actually making it into your brain and your fingers and your business and affecting your money? How many of these people are actually out there in the field getting their hands dirty and testing to find out what actually works and what flops? Well, in the Copy Chief community, a real community, you get shoulder to shoulder with the most active, successful marketers working in the trenches today, all while learning from industry legends who rarely teach anywhere else, if ever. Copy Chief is an amazing community, super newbie friendly. Also, you'll find, elite level marketers and copywriters in there. They're all working to become the best at their craft, get paid top dollar for their skills, stay ahead of the competition by keeping their finger on the pulse of what's working now. That's the X factor when you're backed up by a community and you can get any question you have answered by people who actually do this stuff and can tell you from real world experience what to do for your project, for your offer, for your funnel, for your clients. Man, you're unstoppable when you've got that kind of confidence. Go check us out at copychief.com/join. If you've never been a member, you're going to see what you've been missing and you're going to say, where has this been all my life? And if you've been a member in the past, I would invite you to come and check out all the new stuff. We've completely updated all the tech. So we're on brand new platforms. Everything is slick and smooth and easy to access. And it's never been better. Copychief.com/join. I'll look for you inside.
Restaurants to me are the number one. I'm having a field day when I go into a restaurant. I may be frustrated, but I'm delighting at all the fails going around me or thrilled at the wins. But it's just the simplest thing to say, I see you, I'll be right with you from the host stand. I don't need you to come take my arm and just see me. So kind of no excuses there. But you know who nails it consistently for some reason? Greek restaurants.
Great food.
You notice this?
There's a lot of pride in Greek restaurants.
A lot of pride, usually
family.
family. Somehow they have the most attractive early 20s cousin or daughter or somebody who has the perfect personality for that job. It's just, I bring it up because it's consistent wherever I've been in the country in Greek restaurants. There's always that dynamic at play. A lot of food joints are like, hey, you're in our world now. And that's okay if the food's really good. Like that kind of New York deli thing. It's like, you better learn the rules and have your order ready or you're back of that literally happened to me at H&H Bagels. They sent me to the back of the line. And I learned. My crime was looking at the menu instead of saying, here's what I want, like everybody else. But Greek restaurants have that thing. It's like, hey, you're in our world, but we got you. We want you here and we're going to take you in. And it just seems like the simplest philosophy. And so many times you walk in and if there's a host, they're on their phone and they don't even look up at you right away. Can we just agree that nobody in a service role should ever be seen on their phone while they're at work?
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir. And what gets me is no matter what hotel I go in around the world, if a housekeeper sees me going down the hallway, they always say good morning, good afternoon.
Yes.
Even if broken English or Spanish, it doesn't matter, with a smile. Now, if they can do it, why can't you? Well, Bob, that's different. Is it? Like, really? I mean, they have a real reason not to be looking at you, right? So it's like, what'd you do to our room? You ripped everything up. I'm going to take me twice as long to damn kids put crayons on the side of the mirror. There's a million reasons they might have hated it, but they don't let you know it. It's just like,
Yeah.
good morning. And I'm always just so careful. One of my first clients was actually a small little hotel in Newport Beach, California. And when you unpack it, they were Hispanic maids and realize, holy crap, like one had worked there for 20 years, put her son through college, and took a bus every day, an hour each way to get there. And
Wow.
we better respect people that are doing that, because I really had my eyes open. So we treated the front desk and the housekeepers the same way. We just had front and back of the house, same thing. Not like a lot of them do, well, you're the ones that can talk to people and they're the ones that clean. It's like, no, we're part of the same, because you can't do it without the other.
Right. Yeah. And if you're a savvy guest, you want to be friends with the housekeeping, because they're the ones with all the extra stuff you need that you don't now have to call down to the front. Hey, can I grab some extra towels? Sure. Here you go. Okay. Let's talk about how this transitions in the digital world. Here's my latest obsession, Bob. The D2C from online to in my hands in the real world experience. I'm always buying stuff and I can't wait for it to get here, because they usually do a good job digitally of helping me get ready for that experience. I'll give you 2 examples. One I don't have, and there's nothing to show. Municipal clothing, Mark Wahlberg's new clothing line, which he's very enthusiastic about. His enthusiasm got me to want to try the product and have the experience. Got to my door, was in one plastic bag, opened it up. It's in another plastic bag, no branding. It's like, there's your shirt, buddy. Hope you enjoy it. Right. And I'm like, wow, what a letdown. Like I don't need Marky Mark and like 10 different action poses on the bag, but don't leave me now, Mark. Like, you're the reason I'm here, and I get that he doesn't want it to be all about him, and he'll be old or dead someday. And okay, but maybe him and 5 athletes, or I don't know, something, right?
Anything
Put some thought into it.
The brand came home with them, not the product.
That's it. Now, compare it to my favorite new experience I just had, Underdog hemp t-shirts. So I'm a black t-shirt guy. And of course, the algorithm knows that. And so, the copy's great. The branding's great. I feel like I'm part of something. They get me. I get them. What's this hemp about? Will it be comfortable? Well, this is how they deliver it to me. Look how beautiful, right? These aren't testimonials. These are quotes where the famous people use the word underdog. We have our features and benefits. And then we have, just some simple branding. Another big one for me, Bob, is, can I get the damn thing open? I have an ongoing hate affair with packaging. I just often can't. If you have kids, we trying to get a toy open is like, man, you need a stick of dynamite. So there's like just my thumbnail, and look at the loving care again to brand the actual bag, the t-shirts in. Now they're kind of a fun brand, but now we're going to get super serious for a second and give you a certificate of authenticity, and it's stamped, and it shows, hey, our workers care about what you're holding, and it's been lovingly, created.
And
just couldn't be more thrilled. I still have the box because I've been referencing it and showing it to everybody. I don't want to throw it out because it makes me feel good when I see it, because they delighted me.
How many boxes do you have on your shelf now that you could say that about?
Not many.
Maybe your iPhone box when it came in? I don't know.
Well, it's interesting. I do tend to keep thicker stock boxes, because the idea is that the thing will, so like guitar pedals, I just cleaned something out and I found 4 boxes that had guitar pedals in them. And I'm like, the pedals are never going back in this box, but I felt the need to keep the box. I don't know why, 1-800 contact lenses. And to me, this is just not, whatever. I think the branding, it's, they were like, well, we should put something there, but it's not, is that really what I'm feeling? That I'm getting relief? Not necessarily. It's like, hey, good for you. You're covered for another month, or I don't know. Like, So there's so many opportunities to do this well or not do it well. What do you find about the digital experience, which is frankly kind of easy to create? We know the channels, we know where to plug in the copy. We kind of want to make sure that if they abandon cart, that they're being welcomed back and all those things. But do you also find that people very often drop the ball when it comes to actually showing up in somebody's home?
I think that's always a challenge. I can't think of who used to, they were the first to put a little toy in each box and people love talking about it on Instagram. I don't remember who that brand is. I don't know, whatever. They put a toy in a thing. That's cute. I've seen some other ones who brand the box. So this is probably more fun for your cat than for you. It's like, oh, that's funny. What was the brand? I don't know. So to your point, getting it there, and especially nowadays where you're trying to use less packaging and you're trying to be more ecologically, it's hard. But at the end of the day, it still comes down to, like, when I was at apparel, I would rather make that. I mean, there's a certain way you fold a shirt, for example, when you fold a shirt in retail, and not like a Gap or something crazy. It's just there's a way you put it on the counter and it should feel like a present when they open it. And I went into, I don't know, Zara, I don't know, a few years ago, and I got a couple shirts. And I don't know did I take a video of it or did I just take a picture? The girl just like put them in a ball and then threw them in a bag. And I just like, what are you doing? She goes, what do you mean? It's like, never mind.
Yeah. I just walked into a candle store over the weekend, and it's one where they make the candles. And but I wanted to just buy some candles. And this was kind of funny. So there's 2 deep candles on the shelf and the scents. And I keep opening the front one, and there's no wick consistently. So I finally, and I had to ask a dumb question. I said, I'm sorry, this is probably a dumb question. Well, why is there no wick in this can? She says, those are just the ones we made for the scent. The one behind it actually has the wick that I have no idea why they wouldn't just put a wick in both of them and sell them both. I don't know. But
because if you steal it, it won't work. That's what they did.
Oh.
You stole it.
Oh.
It wasn't a 50,000 square foot store, my guess. It's a small candle store. So
it is. Yeah.
That's a weird perspective. I've never heard that before. But anyway.
Yeah, again, it could have been the experience of, she was almost staying out of my way too much. I would have loved to walked in and she said, hi, first time here? But yeah, I've always wondered, okay, well, you see here we have our station where bachelorette parties or a couple, people come in and they just want the experience of making their own scent. That's really fun. Am I interested in that? Yeah, actually, no, do you sell candles? Sure. Here's our whole wall. Here's what you'll find. The first one has no wick. Kind of strange, right? Here's why. You can smell that one. And if you want them, and then it's like, educate me. And I don't have to, most people won't ask the question, I think, because they don't want to feel dumb. It's like, you're in somebody's living room and I don't want to be weird.
But that is the point. You're welcoming in. If you look at early TV, they always talk about, we're so glad to be here in your living room with us. It was always a matter of us coming together. And we somehow lost that when it got to retail, certainly after COVID. COVID definitely changed a lot of people's approaches. I think they got, after a lot of retailers got accosted for masks or not masks or whatever it was going to be. Right. Politics then jump into it, and then people are just waiting to take out their phone and say, you suck. But all that to say is, it is still, we are humans, we are tribal animals that want to come together. That's what we do. And the reality is, we're not going to churches. You're not going to school barbecues and a lot of other things that we used to take for granted. The only place you're going to meet somebody is probably going to be in a retail store. And if you really don't like people and you hate shopping and you hate talking to people, then get the hell out of a brick and mortar store, because you're costing yourself money. Nobody wants to work with you. You're probably a pill. You're probably dozens of sites out there about retail sucks or any number of different URLs, and just get on and talk about how awful it is to be you. And I've gotten trapped in some of those discussions on my Facebook page. And I'm like, you always could change jobs. If you hate it that much, why do you, you don't understand. I understand. A buddy of mine was a plumber up here in I live in upstate New York. And he said, I could have been in Manhattan, but I said, I'm going to go up. I think there's a opportunity up there. And people were like, I can't believe you're still going to be a plumber in movies. Like, yeah, that's what I do. It's like, what's your big deal? So I think the idea of shaming people that they work in retail or, oh, he's trying to sell me. No one tries to sell you anymore. This idea that people are out there trying to sell you like a car or tin sales, tin siding, or the Glengarry, Glen Ross, steak knives. They all make great jokes, but that's not reality. Nobody tries to earn your business anymore. We just assume that the jaded consumer doesn't care. And I just got back from Toronto. I went into my favorite men's store and expecting it to be amazing. They greeted me as I walked in the door and then didn't say a word to me. And I walked around 3 floors and I got to the end and I saw this because I'm keynoting in China next month. And I thought, I want to get a travel outfit. This would be cool, something new, different for me. And I'm trying on the jacket and I'm like, yeah, but I need the right shirt. And I'm kind of find this shirt. And I'm thinking of actually unpinning the shirt. And then I snapped. I was like, no one's here with me. This is ridiculous. And I took off the jacket and I threw it on the counter and I walked upstairs and I'm about to go out and I said, let me speak to your manager. And the manager came out, yes. And I told him what happened. He goes, oh, I guess you caught us with our pants down. And it's like, no, I caught you not caring. That's what I caught. And that's what pissed me off. So I went out front and I did a video and, a lot of people watched it because a lot of people find that same experience.
Yeah.
That if I'm going to pay you more than a couple of bucks, I shouldn't feel like I'm at the dollar store having to beg you to come ring me up or talk to me, right? So
right.
I can get on my soapbox all day. I don't want to.
I know. I don't. We're not meaning to be negative, everybody. It's just that, look, in business, you learn the little things make a very big difference. And again, magic word is intent. Is your intention to provide a great experience? And if they have to ask, you screwed up. You dropped the ball. If they have to ask for help, if I have to ask, what are these candles for sale? It's okay, but I had nothing to do. I was killing time. It was fine with me. But if it's easy to do right. Who's killing it in retail? Because you know what? I feel like now the extremes have become great. My first one that comes to my head is like a Warby Parker, who seems to have their system like super dialed in. Or you go in somewhere and you're like, how's this place even open? Do you feel like the gap is super wide now?
You've got your Kohl's, that's what you think of, like, how do they even survive, right? The cool stuff that's happening is in boutiques, smaller names where they're passionate about their little world that they talk about. They know what makes them different. I'm drawing a blank right now, but I think Lululemon still does a nice job. I think they still understand who their customer is. I think you go to a Starbucks roastery, I think they're amazing. I think if you went to most Starbucks, they're really trying to recapture that connection to their customers. I think that some of the Nike stores, there's so many different versions, and Adidas, I think sporting goods seems to be hit or miss. It really comes down to the manager, which is really something I say all the time. People don't quit brands, they quit managers. And it's the same idea. I find that if you have a great store, it's because there's a great manager. There's somebody there that says, they can tell you, those 3 people were in the fitting room, what's going with them. And I saw that up there. I mean, they are elevated, they're watching it, and they take a personal interest. They're not like, oh, let me help you at the register. They know that their job is out there and helping people. Another one that people kind of take for granted, Chick-fil-A, regardless of their politics. You don't see someone with a mental headache going like, can I help you? You just don't see it. I mean, it's just, you don't see it. So standards and accountability, I think that's the other part, that it's great to have intention. But if you're not holding people accountable and you say, this is what success looked like, just like we started earlier, I told you exactly how it should feel when I go through a store. If you aren't holding people accountable to make someone's day, then shame on you, because we are living in a kryptonite world right now where all kinds of crap is going around us left and right that we are powerless against. We are in a kryptonite world, and I open the doors, I roll the dice to walk into your store and feel good about myself. And you better make me feel I matter, because in the old days we'd say, oh, well, our widget has X, Y, and Z, so you can X, Y, and Z. It's like, don't care. How does this make me a superhero on my tool belt? And the only way that we sell is heroes sell to heroes. So if you've got someone who doesn't have the confidence, they don't have the intention. I was in a retail store a couple of weeks ago. I thought the girl was going to try to meld into the wall. She just couldn't talk to anyone. Well, she's not going to be able to have that conversation to say, yeah, this is for you. This will help you fly and go out into that kryptonite world and feel better. And that's what we're lacking. We need somebody who's willing to go out there and do the heavy lifting of putting people together. And it comes by little conversations, that little gossamer thread from one to another. That's what makes community. And why are we in the place we are politically? Because we decided we didn't have to do that. I don't want to do that. They'll all be online. This bitter side, they aren't going to buy from us and all this junk, instead of just being curious. I say to business clients all the time as a retail doc, tell me what it was like, tell me whatever's going on. I go, tell me what it was like the first week you opened. Oh my God, it was great. They were this and this and this. Would you do anything for a customer? Absolutely. I did this. I would, my husband and wife, and we did. Yeah. What's changed? Well, you get older. It's like, yeah, but that's the problem. You've got to find that in you to make it interesting, or sell it and get out. Because that middle area isn't fun for customers, and it's certainly not fun for you either.
Great point. Well, I tell you, going back to young people, just go to a Chick-fil-A and you'll go, oh, there's still young people who are plugged in because they found them. And you're right. I've never been in a Chick. In fact, I went to the drive-thru just like 2-3 days ago, and I noticed something, and I'm going to try to be very diplomatic about this, but the way they had the different personality types in my experience was very strategic. So Chick-fil-A does a thing now where a human takes your order and they only use the window if it's like raining or something, which is an interesting touch. But I noticed that employees taking the orders were not top shelf. They were functional.
Probably they start off there would be my guess, and see if they can get that right.
Yeah, and also maybe the DNA wasn't quite there looked and felt like different people than the ones I got to later. And I think that's, again, I'm not criticizing humans here. I'm just saying these demographics are what they are. But they understood, well, we can't get all A players because we have a lot of employees, but we're going to put the people with the right capabilities, if limited, on the front line of just getting your order. We can manage that. But then as I get to the window, this lovely, well-kempt, well-presented human being comes out with the biggest smile and gives me my food and tells me to have a great day. And that's the last experience I had before I drove away. So like incredibly smart about how they really think about the customer experience from top to bottom there.
I love that. Well, it's like your Greek restaurant you're talking about with having the...
Yeah.
You have,
but it's, impressive when I don't know how many locations, thousands of locations, and they're still pulling it off consistently. But I guess my point is that there may always be compromise in regards to finding a lot of great people, but Chick-fil-A to me proves that it can be done, and they're out there and they clearly want to work. Bob, this has been really fun. I'd love to do it again sometime. Thanks for making the case studies. I think those videos of, hey, I just had this experience, those are the best because they're the most relatable and it shows your expertise in the moment. So my audience is maybe more on the digital side. What should they be learning from you, or what course maybe that's going to help them the most have a direct impact if they're not in retail? I'm a big fish in a small pond, so probably not as much as you might like. But at the end of the day, I think what you can take from me is to connect with me or follow me on LinkedIn and see what it takes to come up with content that grows your audience. I am not, I don't speak on that. That's my thing. I got too much work to keep it up. But when I see people say, oh, LinkedIn's, I've got it all figured out. It's like, yeah, LinkedIn just changed recently. So particularly if your posts aren't getting as much we were told, it's got to be within the first hour, and you don't change the wording, and you do this, and you get 10 people who say at least 5 words in a comment within an hour, then that's all changed now. And basically it now rolls on for several days, not unlike, this video I did last Thursday on Instagram. 97% of the people who seen it are not my followers. So the idea we had to have followers, all your followers be engaged, like maybe, but really it's just a matter of knowing I've got to come up with engaging content, and that's hard. So that might be a way that you could learn from me without actually paying me a dime. There you go.
A retailer who's struggling, you can tell him, call the retail doc. He makes house calls. How's that?
I love it. It's been a gas. I'll put all of your links, of course, in the show notes so people can easily find you. Enjoy China. I hope we talk again soon.
All right, my friend. Thank you.
Hey, don't forget your goodies. Head over to copychief.com/copychiefradio to get some great free stuff to help you put the things you hear on the show into action for your business. copychief.com/CCR.